So even though I recorded, I think, an inspiring podcast around loneliness for you this month, this little intro, it doesn't escape me that I'm having a day, an afternoon of feeling lonely. Lonely for like universe, God, goddess, like what the fuck? I'm having like things that are just not, things that are falling away, things that I'm choosing to let go of. So there's a real sense of emptiness today, and like a little blame. Like God and the goddess, like what the fuck? I show up, I do the work. So I'm a little bit cranky, and then a little inner blame. Like, what am I doing wrong? Why is it so hard? What am I not listening to my truth? Am I not following my knowing? I wouldn't say super depressed, but definitely just want to hide under the covers. Just want to go to bed right now as the sun is setting. That's really what I want to do right now. And then in my calendar, it says, shoot the little intro to the podcast about loneliness. And I'm all like, okay, how am I going to? And I'm just like, no, not even going to try. Not even going to try. Because this is real. And loneliness is real. And it's part of being human. And it's no better or worse than being happy. How would we even know connection and happiness if we didn't know loneliness and depression? It's, one coin, two sides of a coin of being human. So at least I'm with you. I'm not all alone. I'm with you, which feels really, really good. And so that's part of why I show up all the time, is to be with you, to be with incredible guests, to be together on this journey called life. So enjoy this solo episode of Loneliness. Welcome to Intimate Conversations, Soul Medicine. Intimacy is an inside job. Welcome to Intimate Conversations, Season 11, Soul Medicine. Allana Pratt here, your host. This is a solo episode, just you and me, talking about loneliness and how to end blame and end the depression that comes from loneliness. I'm sitting here looking out over a hell of a lot of snow in Wyoming. I think it was 3 degrees, but the sun is out and the sky is blue. Nature really supports me in not feeling lonely and being connected to life. But if we go over to Google to begin, loneliness is defined as an unpleasant emotional response to, and get this, perceived isolation. Not an unpleasant emotional response to isolation, to perceived isolation. And I was like, holy shit, Google's clever. Google gets what it is we talk about around here all the time with intimacy, that we have always this intimate relationship with ourselves. We are never alone. We have this intimate relationship with the divine. We are never alone. We have this intimate relationship with our body. We're never, ever alone. I was not taught this though. And for most of my life, I scampered on the outside, just trying to get attention so that I would feel safe. And I would never, never let myself slow down to ever feel lonely. No, I was just always on guard. I often felt like a burden to my mom, or my dad would lecture me, or worse. And so I really learned, like, there's no time for feeling lonely around here. I got to be resourceful. I got to be resilient. And so, as I just said, looking out over this beautiful vista, we had a cabin at the lake growing up. We went out. My mom was a teacher, so we'd go out every single summer. She'd give us this big garbage bag. You can put as many clothes in there that you can fit for the whole summer. That's it. And out we'd go in this blue Ford van with, normally it was 2 cats and our dog, my sister and I, 2 garbage bags, and out we went. And we were the first in a row of cabins. And so right beside us was just pure nature and the lake. And I can still hear in my mind's eye as I would go down the side of the cabin and then jump. and then bum, ba-dum, bum, ba, and I go right down, and I was in this other world, the forest. It's where the fairies lived. And I swear I would talk to the fairies. The way the sun would come through the trees and light up the moss on the logs, and the way it would dapple through the leaves and kiss my cheeks. I was happy. I wasn't lonely. I was one with the fairies. I was one with nature. That is how I soothed myself and never let them see me sweat. It almost became like this badge of honor to not feel lonely. Or if I complained at all, I would get in trouble. So let's just put on that happy face. As I grew older, it was actually out at the lake where I got the news that my best friend James had died. After the initial shock, I remember running down the yellow line on the highway right beside our cabin, just screaming my head off like, no. And when I not quite calmed down, my dad was walking along that yellow line towards me, and he grabbed my shoulders and he shook me and he said, look, if this is it, if this is all life is, let's get off. You will see your friend again. We live forever. And again, that sort of opened up this sense of I'm never alone. My friend is dead, but he's not. He's on the other side. He's just living in a different place now. And I remember that night, my friends took me down to the provincial park to go bike riding to try to make me feel better. And as we came home that night, clear blue sky, not a cloud in the sky, but there were 2 rainbows that came right over onto my cabin. And I really felt like that was a fork in the road, like a choice. I could close my heart and be bitter, hate God, hate life, get depressed. Or I could say, okay, I'm going to learn, hadn't learned yet, but I'm going to learn how to keep my heart open, be grateful for that friendship when I had, and learn that all these life circumstances, they're not going to take me down. And again, that badge of honor to just keep going with my heart open. I think it's been a healthy badge of honor, and it's been an unhealthy badge of honor, because I really don't experience loneliness. If I ever get sad, I've learned how to soothe myself. If I ever, wish things had turned out differently, I know how to go get pissed off and break a few things and come back and get back in the saddle. But there's something about that deep, deep loneliness that I just won't let myself feel. It's too scary for me to go there. Probably decades of emotion that I'm still processing. I remember when my friend died as well. I was his friend, but he had a girlfriend. There was like the 3 of us, like the 3 Musketeers. And back at school, it was completely appropriate for her to be sad, but it was completely inappropriate for me to be sad. So again, stuff it down and get strong and get resilient. And I remember then hopping on Uncle Phil's 18-wheeler semi, just a few short years later, gallivanting around the world. And I think that really all stemmed from probably an unhealthy way of dealing with not feeling safe or heard at home, not having that intimate, vulnerable, transparent, safe place to be gotten. And then the life circumstances with death of just push it down, let's move forward. I am proud of myself that I did it with my heart open. It was really about not getting bitter, but getting better. But I really shamed myself if I was anything other than completely resourceful and resilient. I'm glad I didn't turn out to be a damsel in distress. I mean, of course, I used that. I got my degree at Columbia and I accomplished a lot. But this whole boss babe thing, it's really created a barrier to that deeper intimacy of letting myself need someone. It still terrifies me right now to say that I need someone. I hate the idea of being needy. I hate the idea of relying on someone who's going to let me down. And yet over time, as an intimacy expert for 20 years, of course, I'm here to teach what I'm here to learn. And what I've learned is that there's a difference when we're needy from empty, seeking on the outside our safety, our worth. And if somebody doesn't do that, that's what leads to blame. Point the finger at the other one. If you were different, I would be happy. That clearly doesn't work. And so this boss babe and these walls and don't want anyone to see me sweat hasn't allowed for that wholeness where it's not needy, like you'll complete me and I'll blame you if you don't. And it's not depression. If you don't give me all my needs, poor me, woe is me, victim, suppressed all that anger at the world or anger at myself. Really, when we have this sense of needing from wholeness, like I got my own back. I see myself. I'm connected to myself. I'm safe with myself. Then our need can be healthy. We can have 1 and 1 doesn't just equal 2. 1 and 1 can equal infinity. And that's where I personally am evolving. My clients are evolving. So it's not from emptiness we need and then blame or get depressed if it doesn't go our way, all of our power outside of us. We can need from wholeness and surrender into being supported and supporting another and have that beautiful gift of being there for one another. I love what Brené Brown writes. You would think the universal nature of struggle would make it easier for all of us to ask for help. But in a culture of scarcity and perfectionism, there can still be so much shame around reaching out, especially if we're not raised to understand the irreducible nature of human need. We can encourage our children to ask for help. However, if they don't see us reaching out for support and modeling that behavior, they will instead attach value to never needing help. That was me. We also send strong messages to people around us when they ask for help. We treat them differently as if they are now less reliable, competent, or productive. Before I keep reading, just take a beat there. Do you notice that within yourself? Like I was just in Mexico at my last retreat, and one of the gentlemen was deeply judging himself as weak for needing help, for allowing his wife to just hold him if he had a bad day. He just did not want to be touched. And then any of those emotions were bad, wrong, and weak. Well, he and I and all of us have grown up in a society where we're judged if we don't have it all together. That's why I also had the theme of my last retreat called Wabi Sabi, perfectly imperfect. Can we find the beauty in our imperfections? So Brené continues to write, to know pain is human. To need is human. And no amount of money, influence, resources, or sheer determination will change our physical, emotional, and spiritual dependence on one another. Many of us are willing to extend a helping hand, but we're very reluctant to reach out for help when we need it ourselves. As if we've decided the world goes into those who offer help and those who need help. The truth is that we are both. Need is the most beautiful compact between humans. And as I said before, to need really scared the shit out of me, because as a little kid, if I got vulnerable and opened up and asked for help, I would either not get it, get abused, or be made wrong. And so while I'm grateful for the sense of resilience, perseverance, resourcefulness that I've developed, it's really been my edge to ask for help. And knowing that I'm not perfect, nobody's perfect. So if I ask for help, sometimes I'll get it and sometimes I won't. Or sometimes I'll get it the way I want it and sometimes I won't. And who am I going to be about that? Am I going to go, well, you did it wrong. You let me down, blame, blame, blame. Go be all by myself and get depressed? Or am I going to learn how to communicate in a way that can invite it? Am I going to learn to continue that deep inner intimate relationship with myself so I can sit in the fire, keep my heart open, feel my feelings, express my feelings without judgment, criticism of self or other, and stay present, lean in, open up, dive deeper. Allow that phoenix to rise between two people, between a partnership where we learn and we grow together. I think if we don't do this deeper inner work, we're always going to be control freaks, or we're just going to live in our own little silos all alone. But if we're willing to get messy, if we're willing to stay present with ourselves, if we're willing to feel our feelings, if we're willing to ask for our needs in a way that can really be received well, softly, gently, with gratitude and vulnerability and bravery, this, I believe, is what healthy needs are. As we go through and learn a little bit more, I believe loneliness leads to blame. We find fault in the other, pointing a finger. And I'm sure all of us have had those, thoughts in our head like, oh my God, criticizing self, like, what's wrong with me? Something doesn't go well, or we get broken up with again, or somebody cheats on us again. Why does this keep happening to me? Really noticing those thoughts are self-critical, they're self-blame, and it makes us feel powerless. It makes circumstances feel bigger than who we are. It makes us feel like a victim. I mean, I remember during that, whatever it was, 12-year custody battle with my son's father. Oh my God, I blamed him. If only he would change, everything would be fine. Why isn't he not cooperating with me? Why isn't he being kind to me? Why doesn't he understand our son is suffering from this? Why doesn't he just be peaceful with me? Why does he keep attacking me? Why does he keep turning all these people against me? Oh my God, I was so caught in that. And he was a circumstance during that period of time that was so much bigger than me. I just couldn't figure out how to be bigger than my circumstances. I knew in my head I ought to, but I just couldn't. And one of the reasons why is I wasn't intimately connected with myself. I was blaming myself. I didn't want to see how scared I was. I didn't want to feel how out of control I felt. I didn't want to be present. I just wanted to exit out of my body, disassociate, go into people pleaser, control my circumstances, look good, scamper, desperate. And that's what kept the cycle going. And I had many a depressed day, but I wouldn't let myself get all the way lonely or depressed because I had my son to fight for. It really wasn't until this last relationship that I was in, the one that was physically and verbally abusive, that I felt for the first time in my life suicidal ideations. I didn't have a son to save, and while I still had, commitments to my clients and my business, there was enough time to feel really bad and really ashamed and really angry. And I remember my friends I've known for like 2 decades. I remember seeing them over the summer in LA, and they said, "Oh my God, we've never seen you so insecure and depressed in our life. What is going on?" And still, I didn't ask for help. I was terrified. I said, no, I'm fine. It was COVID. I had COVID. Yeah. Made excuses. This highly critical perfectionist in me, and so ashamed that I'd gotten myself into this horrific circumstance. Instead of a protector, I had a predator. I didn't know how to get out of it. And so this is real. As successful as you may be, as good as you look on Instagram, I really believe that the depth of loneliness, the capacity for blame and depression exists in all of us. And I believe turning it around is what my life's work is. Intimacy, coming home to self in the face of anything, anyone, anyhow, anytime, is like, what does it take to stay connected to self? And if we can do that, we can build the capacity to do that with others. And that, to me, creates incredibly nourishing, not perfect, but incredibly nourishing, healthy relationships, because our needs are valid. And I have gone without them being met for a long ass time until I've come home, stopped criticizing myself, let go of the self-hatred, and honored myself and got connected to little you, who was just scared. I was just scared. And I can have compassion for the mistakes I made, or the lies I told just to try to get love or be safe. I can forgive all of that and more deeply come home and meet my own needs. So then I'm the vibration of that to attract that in a partner and be able to give that to a partner as well. As we go through the internet, I found this article on Lifehack talking about core relationship needs. See if any of these are alive in your life with yourself or alive in your life with your partner. Affection, romantic gestures, words of love, and sex. I know a lot of people, when we're single, we're like, well, how the hell is that going to happen? Well, there's self-pleasure. There's how do you talk to yourself when you look in the mirror? And do you dress as if you're going on a date with yourself today, every day? These are ways we can nourish our own core needs. So we show up in relationship, not from empty, you need to meet my needs, you need to say more words of love, you need to give me sex. No, we're already feeling pretty delicious in ourselves, and we become an invitation from wholeness to get that need of affection met. Next, respect. Your opinion matters to the other person. This is one of the core fundamental needs. If you're not respected, why the hell are you with that person? And simultaneously, if you don't respect yourself, why would anyone else, right? The next one, appreciation, receiving gratitude and praise. I remember at the end of every week, I would look back and I would just have this way of being critical, like, yeah, that didn't work and you didn't do that and that failed. And I'm like, why am I doing that? So yes, those are all factually accurate, but why don't I look back at the end of the week and go, look what you did. Look what you succeeded in. Look where you knocked it out of the park. Look what went well. Look where you at least showed up, right? It's a practice. It's a practice. And when we are this way with ourselves, we can be this way with our partner. I mean, who'd want to date us or marry us if we're just complaining about them all the time, criticizing them with contempt? It's not going to last for very long. The next one, security, physical and emotional safety. This has been my edge with the trauma that I've healed from, for sure. Physical and emotional safety. I've taken my self-defense classes. I've done my PSI. And this emotional safety, though, seems to be, not that any of those other things aren't humongous, life-changing for me, but really it's when I'm scared or sad, can I go and lean inward and say, hey, little you, I'm right here. And not try to put myself in a better mood and say, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. No, I just go, wow, little Allana, you have every right to feel this way. God, this is hard. Tell me more, right? That way of speaking to myself is the quickest way to resolve and feel secure within, because any way I feel is a-okay with me. I guess we could call it my higher self, my sovereign self, just cradling little Allana. I feel secure on the inside, and I don't give my power away or desperately seek it on the outside. And I believe it allows me to be more magnetic to quality people who are the vibration of security as well, who keep their word, who are kind, who tell the truth, these kind of qualities that allow us to feel secure on the outside as a reflection of security on the inside. Loyalty, partners who are faithful to each other. Oy, this is another wound and owie. Scared. Is he going to cheat on me? Is he going to leave me? How many times have I cheated on myself, my values, my morals? How many times have I not been there and faithful to my truth, my soul's whisper, my heart's yearning, right? So the more we can be this loyal partner to our heart, our soul, our knowing, then that's a vibration. That's a way of being. That's how we roll. That's who we can be in partnership and who we vibrationally can attract in partnership. And last one, trust, transparency in all aspects of life. I thought I trusted myself, and I think I have a pretty good handle on this. But the more I've been doing in this last year, the PSI work, the more I have forgiven myself and let go of the self-hatred, the more I stop comparing myself on a timeline that society made up, or that I go out there and compare myself to everybody and then just cry in a heap on the floor. The more I just let go of all of that, and I can hear my way down in my hips. I can feel the lightness of, yeah, go that way, or the heaviness of, no, that's not for you. The more I feel at peace in my skin, and I can trust myself. And it gets tested. If people blame me, or they disagree with me, or they're mean to me, or these very other things, instead of instantly defending and justifying, I go inside and I go, no, and can I trust myself? Did I act as love? Did I act in alignment with my truth? Am I keeping the agreement that we made? Like, can I trust myself, even if they blame me up one side and down the other? And man, oh man, when I can do that, I can be present to another. I can hear what they have to say, and I don't have to instantly disagree. I can even have compassion for what they're saying, even if I disagree. I can even see things from their point of view, even if I disagree. I'm able to stay connected and present, and things don't have to align, and I don't have to go anywhere. I am still a work in progress on this, and yet I've had a lot more wins than ever before. And I'll go through this list one more time: trusting myself, being loyal to myself, finding security within myself, appreciating myself, respecting myself, of having affection for myself. And when I do that, I am more able to bravely surrender, let go, and receive those core relationship needs from another. I'm not empty, needing it. I'm whole, receiving it to an exhale I never knew was possible, a depth I never knew was possible, a co-creative alignment that I never knew was possible. That's a visceral feeling of embodied surrender. Exquisite. It's exquisite. Next, I continued researching online, and I found that the Boston University says that there are 6 core needs. And I want you, as you listen to this list, to see where they're alive in your life, with yourself, and with your partner. Number 1, certainty. Assurance that you can avoid pain and gain pleasure. I find this really kind of funny personally, because life is equal pain and pleasure, if you ask me. I think it's really unhealthy to be seeking pleasure all the time, avoiding pain all the time. I think that's the quickest way. You give your power away and stay addicted to all the unhealthy things, and you miss out on the gift of pain and the growth of pain. So I don't agree, Boston University, but let's keep reading and see what else you have to say. So uncertainty and variety, another core need, the need for the unknown, change, new stimuli. Okay, I agree with that one. When we're solid in our center and we can be with uncertainty, which basically to me is back to number 1, that you cannot control people, you cannot control life, and there is equal chaos and order in life. There is equal night and day. There is equal pain and pleasure. When you get that and you stop trying to seek some fantasy, then the uncertain world, the mystery, becomes quite delicious. Like, I wonder what delicious thing will happen when I got 3 days extra stranded in Mexico when I couldn't get back because of all the snow back in Wyoming. Like, I wonder who I'm going to meet. I wonder what's right about this. Uncertainty and the unknown no longer becomes this like horrible thing. Our point of view with it changes everything, and it can become delicious and exciting. And I wonder what'll happen. And how does it get even more delicious than this? These are some of the questions we can ask and have a healthier relationship with change. Number 3, significance, feeling unique, feeling important, feeling special or needed. I agree and disagree with this one. I definitely want to know that my impact made a difference, that I belong, that I matter, that who I am and as I be is a contribution to humanity. I love it when someone else recognizes that, but I don't feel that it's healthy to be seeking that or needing that in order to finally have relief on the inside. In fact, the opposite. I think when I get too significant or too important or too attached, I give away my power. I never stop worrying. I'm a control freak. I'm no fun to be around at all. So to me, it's more about choice and the willingness to have it and the willingness to put one foot in front of the other, but let go of the significance of it. Like, if it works, great. It doesn't work, great. I'm still Allana. And let go of the importance, let go of the attachment. Like, it may or may not happen. And it probably is not going to happen the way I want it to happen or the way I dream it up to happen. Thank goodness, because Allana on her own can only have just this little brain she's got here, but Allana plus the universe, I mean, my pineal in the center of my head can open up into these Saturn rings that go out for infinity, and I can hear non-local intelligence, and I can hear the whispers of God. Like, oh my God, the universe can bring way more magical, delicious experiences than I could come up with in my little brain. So I do believe it's important that we feel to ourselves unique, important, special, needed on this planet. Like, we can look ourselves in the mirror and go, wow, I love you. You wabi-sabi, perfectly imperfect self. God, you make a difference. God, I'm proud of you. Like a relationship with self. But if I'm only seeking it on the outside, I think it's wobbly. I think we give our power away. I think we go around moping, feeling insignificant. And why didn't they say thank you? Right. And I think that's too much pressure to put on other people. And then it makes anything that they do say gravy, icing, lovely, but it doesn't go to our ego head. It's just a lovely gesture, and we can be grateful for that and receive that, but we don't from empty, need it. Okay, continuing on. Number 4, connection and love, a strong feeling of closeness or union with someone or something. Absolutely. And I sort of see it like a figure 8. Like it can't be just on the outside, or we're going to get attached to try to control that, like, and make someone else the source of our happiness. But if it's only on the inside, we don't bravely show up and learn and grow and be transparent and vulnerable and risk and evolve. So to me, it's both. Connection and love on the inside, connection and love on the outside, and continue to let that figure 8, that infinity symbol, evolve over our lives. Number 5, growth. An expansion of capacity, capability, or understanding. Yeah, this seems to be, for me, I'm in total agreement with this one, Boston University. I don't get bored. I'm always reading something, exploring something, learning about something. I love that. I love that I'm a masterful coach, and I love that I'm an eternal student of life. Like I love learning new things. I love when I can have an intuition in my body and then talk to a quantum physicist who can prove it to me. Like those kind of things really, really turn me on. An expansion of my capacity to listen, a deepening of my capacity to forgive myself, a deeper understanding that I am, that I'm one with all, not like just a thought in my head, but a knowing, a visceral knowing deep in my body. Yeah, so I'm all about that one, growth. And number 6, contribution, a sense of service and focus on helping, giving, and supporting others. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I think I agree with more than I disagree with. So I agree. I get up in the day, I would say first contributing to myself, a sense of service, focus, helping, giving, supporting myself. I do that with my meditation. I do that with my exercise. I do that with how I eat and supplements. I do that with how I meditate. I do that how I commune with nature, commune with the universe, be one with my sovereign higher self. So this is how I roll. I do this with myself as the sun is rising and kissing my cheeks every morning. I first contribute to myself, and then I bravely ask. And maybe you think this is selfish, but I am now, it used to be the other way around. And I noticed I was giving more than I was receiving. I was in a pattern from a little girl from the trauma to give 80% and only receive 20. And that's how I calmed angry people down. And so for me now, I'm focusing on, after my morning practice, literally asking universe, what would you like to contribute to me today? How could you contribute to me today? So I can go from the 20% up to 50. So it can be like half and half. So I give from fullness. I give from the overflow. I don't give from emptiness anymore. I still have friggin' joy every day of my life, contributing to my clients, contributing to my community, contributing to my friends, to my staff. Like I just love to love the shit out of you. That's just, I mean, I'm just smiling right now, just talking about it. It brings me such delight. I have so much love for people. I love to contribute to them. And my edge is to contribute to myself and receive the contribution from the universe to myself. That is bringing me more into balance and alignment, more than I ever have in my entire half a century and more on the planet. And so as we complete this conversation, coming to a close around loneliness and how to end blame and depression, I really believe it's about coming home to ourselves so that we feel that I love myself as I am and as I'm not. I am safe with myself, whether I'm feeling batshit crazy, scared out of my mind, sobbing in the corner. Like I love and appreciate myself no matter how I am. I will not turn away from any aspect of me. I will meet me. I will feel. I will have my own back. Not with an agenda to change, but just to experience being alive. I will see myself. I will slow down and listen to what's really true. I will bravely speak it, ask for it, let go of attachment if I don't get it, who, what, when, where, how that I want, but that I'm deserving, I'm worthy, I belong, and I'm willing to have that which I've asked for, and I'm willing for it to look different and be delighted and get the lesson in not having it, or get the lesson in it looking different, and really connect with my truth, with what's deeply true for me. I'm willing to work on my, I'll call it my self-esteem, that's nobody else's job. That's my job to honor and respect me, My job to celebrate my little wins and celebrate the process and not wait till the goal is accomplished in order to be happy for 3 seconds and then get back to criticizing again. No, it's my job to really believe in myself and to honor what's unique about my song, my unique gift, and to give it to my unique circle of influence, my unique intimate circle in my life, and to let go of the timing, to trust the wave that I came on and not try to jump ahead and compare myself to others and criticize myself. So all of these behaviors for me make me feel home with myself, home with the universe, home with my body, home with nature. And that home makes me feel safer to be with, is what I'm reflected from my clients and friends. And so when we are this way with ourselves, we become that embodiment, and people feel safe and seen and connected and home with us too, which feels incredible. And then we grow and mature spiritually, and we end the cycle of blaming others or blaming ourselves. And we learn how to take ownership and grow and evolve and clean up our messes and make up for the damage done. And then the depression, to me, unless it's clinical, and you guys all know I'm not a doctor, don't have any of the letters behind my name of any letters that one could have letters. I'm just Allana Pratt, and that's it. But the depression from, let's say, Louise Hay's work or Carolyn Miss, depression is suppressed anger and like feeling like we don't have a right to be angry about something, and we suppress it down. And no, your feelings are valid. I'm not saying go around being angry and an asshole to people. And I'm certainly not saying, be an asshole to yourself. But what if anger that is just fierce love? If we close our heart, okay, it's the anger against another, against self, maybe not so helpful, right? But if we open our heart with this intensity of emotion we call anger, what if it's just fierce love for living our values, fierce love for speaking our truth, fierce love that I matter and I belong, fierce love that if I'm here, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to have joy. I'm going to have love. And also fierce love to ourself that, wow, if I'm sad or scared or mad, whatever it is, I'm going to be there for myself too, heart open, with compassion, acknowledgement, validation. You have every right to feel this way, self. I'm right here with you. I'm breathing with you. I'm walking with you. I'm with you, right? To me, these dissolve and end blame, depression, and a sense of loneliness so that we can feel home in our skin, home on the planet, home with each other. Yeah, and we can walk together. So I'm going to leave you with a little exercise, a little homework, if you don't mind, because this really, really worked for me, and I'm hoping it might work for somebody watching or somebody listening. Way back when my son decided to live with his dad to end the court battle, which he was successful. He was right. It did. I was feeling very alone, not with my son, blaming his dad, and depressed. Poor me. Okay, so I was feeling all the things. And I went out to this cabin in the middle of nowhere, and it was a beautiful A-frame. You couldn't see a house in any direction. And I sat on that deck and I wrote out all my most horrible fears. What if my son never calls again? What if everybody leaves my business because I'm a fraud? What if I die alone? Like all the horrible ones. I wrote them all down. And then at the beginning of those sentences, I wrote, even though everybody might opt out of Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is, I love and accept myself. Even though I might be single the rest of my life, I love and accept myself. Now, we can't have that. That's a great exercise to start with, but I'm going to encourage you not to stop just at the writing of it down. It's sort of like the top of an iceberg. The most of the iceberg is under the water. Okay, so saying it, the thought, thinking the thought and saying it, this is very important. Even seeing the visual of loving little you in your heart. Okay, that's also important. But you got to get in your body. You got to get under the water. You got to get into your body. And you got to feel it. And a lot of times we disassociate. We just do 10 more affirmations in our head, and it's exhausting and it doesn't work. Sprinkles on top of the ice cream cone of shit doesn't work. You got to feel. So the true deep challenge with this, in my opinion, is being able to feel the truth of these statements, to know it in your bones and in your blood and in the face of anything. You know, not think, know this to be true. And this is the deep work that I have the honor of doing with pretty much the most extraordinary people I've ever been on this planet, my soul family of clients. So if you get it in your head, but you're not living it in your heart, you're not feeling it deep in your hips and in your soul, I invite you to reach out, because the work that we do together with my Allana Pratt Method coaches, with my community, with coaching with me, group and private, with these epic retreats that we put on that are transformational beyond measure, this stuff gets integrated. It gets processed in a lasting way. And that is your birthright. Thank you for being with me today. I love you with all my heart. And until next time, may this conversation have been sweet medicine to your soul. I love you. See you next week on Intimate Conversations. Get out there and make love to life. I was up at 5:30, couldn't sleep, stirring with anger and sadness. And how could you? With someone I trusted in my life. And so I got up really early, sat out here with my witch's brew, and the sun is not even up yet. Muffins in my lap and the candles are going. And I lit my Virgin of Guadalupe forgiveness candle. And on the heels of this first episode of Intimate Conversations regarding loneliness and blame and depression, I was blaming myself. Why did I trust her when I knew better? Why did I not put the agreement in place when I knew better? Why did I not have those straight, clear conversations and get all caught up in it when I knew better? I think a lot of times when we're lonely, we're really lonely for ourselves. We're really lonely for not blaming ourselves. We're lonely for ending the criticism of ourselves. Everything on the outside is just a catalyst, just an invitation to come home. And can we love ourselves even now? Can we forgive ourselves even now? Can we be home with ourselves in the face of anything and anyone and any circumstance and still keep our heart open to ourselves? Yes, we can. Is it hard? Yeah. Do I forget? Yeah. But do I have practices? Do I have bravery? Do I listen to what my body's saying? Yeah, we all can. I hope this first episode of this month woke something up inside you and inspired you to take an action of self-care, self-love, self-bravery, self-forgiveness to come home to you more than you normally would have. Reach out if I can support you, and we can walk this journey together. I love the shit out of you.